Who are the most underrated Eagles entering 2023? Yesterday we talked, the most important Eagles. Had a lot of fun with that conversation. Today I want to talk about the underrated Eagles. The guys that not enough people are talking about for their importance entering this upcoming season. And I think there's quite a few people that are, or quite a few players that are being overlooked. Paul Reed, Sixers hype video? Really? Was that necessary? And what in the world was that home run derby? Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. It starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe, turn the notifications on, retweet, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, whatever it's got to do to tell everybody to tune in right now because Trending in the AM, it's the number one morning show in the Philadelphia area, the first daily YouTube show on Philly, talking sports and all. The best, too, in my humble opinion. It's also the only show where your opinions actually matter. I bring up the topics, you tell me what you think, and that's where we go. If you want to change the topic, that's what we do. We talk what you want to talk about and talk about your opinions on these topics. Today, jam-packed show. Yesterday, we talked about our most important Eagles players. We are now 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, training camp starts. I don't know about you, but I'm a little pumped up. I'm ready for Eagles season. I still got that bad taste of the Super Bowl lost in my mouth. I'm pumped for 2023. Going to make up for the disappointing Sixers season. It's going to get my mind off the Phillies till October, the playoffs. I'm pumped. So we're going to talk underrated players. The players we're not talking enough about. We always talk Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. Who aren't we talking enough about? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about my opinion on how I think this, and I've been told I'm wrong on this, but this Sixers hype video about Paul Reed re-signing and how stupid I think it is and over the top it is. And I don't know if anybody watched that home run derby last night. I had a show to do last night for Fairway to Heaven. Check it out from last night if you want to bet on the Genesis Scottish Open or the Barbasol Championship. Check it out. I got some great information over there on that. After I was done, I turned on the home run derby for 3 minutes, and what I saw, I don't know what I saw. I turned it right off. So we're going to get right into it today. Yo, what is up, my man? How you doing? Dan Arnold, yeah. Overrated, yeah, or underrated, underappreciated for sure. More like y'all. Yeah, let's just talk about that home run derby for like 2 seconds. We can talk about it again later in the show. But, man, I turned it on. Where did the rapid-fire home run derby come from? Like, it used to have to wait. I know they changed it. You get 10 outs, whatever. Now they have this bracket and timing bracket, whatever. It's okay. None of those players really drew me in last night. But now you can just keep rapid firing the ball, and these guys are just swinging away. Like, you can't even track the home run ball. I don't even know where these balls are going because they're just showing the players swing. The whole point of the home run derby is to watch them swing and watch the ball track all the way to the upper deck. Watch the fans react. I turned it off in less than 3 minutes. I did go back like 5 minutes later. I'm like, did I just really see that? And I'm like, it is what I saw. I turned it right off again. Hell, I was watching Monday Night Raw over the home run derby. That's how bad it was last night. It's pathetic. I've never seen anything like that. And I'm here giving you ideas on how to fix the home run derby. And I've been putting these ideas out there on Twitter. And I give you guys the ideas yesterday on the show. Yet Major League Baseball's idea to fix the derby is to have rapid fire swings. Dude, did you see the video of the kid was tracking one home run. By the time he turns around, he got hit in the head with another one and got knocked out. Like, the dumbest thing in the world. But that's all I want to say about that. Maybe I'll say it again and remind you all how much I hate it at the end of the show. But let's dive into Eagles talk because Eagles talk is what we're here for. Eagles talk is what we live for. So I did a poll on Twitter because it was brought up yesterday on the show. I forget whose name was brought up that made me think about this. So I wanted to do a different end. Instead of who's the most important Eagle, I wanted to bring up who's the most underrated Eagle entering this season. And I put a pretty simple poll out there. It's only the first day of the poll, so the votes will continue to climb over the next couple days. Maybe we'll revisit this poll on Thursday. I put Josh Sweat's name on it. You all know what I'm thinking about Josh Sweat. Hassan Reddick on it. And I got some flack for putting Hassan Reddick's name on there, but I did. Put Landon Dickerson's name on there and other. And we're up to 226 votes so far, so we are going to talk about the names, the others, why I think some of these guys are underrated. What is up, Adam? How you doing this morning? Marshawn checking in early. Why don't they get the top pitchers thrown in? That would be interesting. Maybe they don't have to be throwing 110 miles an hour. Hey, anything was better than last night, man. Marshawn, that was just literally 2 minutes and I couldn't watch it anymore. We're done talking about that for now. I don't even want to waste any more time. I think we should all just boycott the home run derby if that's what they're going to be doing from now on, because it was pretty pathetic last night. Most underrated Eagles. So far, 226 votes on the poll. Josh Sweat and Landon Dickerson are tied at 38.1%. I haven't done the math. A little over 110 votes probably, right around 110 votes for each of them. Hassan Reddick got 19.9%, and other got 4%. Now, I want to know who you guys think is underrated. I'm going to give you the reason why I feel Dickerson, Reddick, and Josh Sweat are underrated. Then we'll dive into some of the other names that were there. Good morning, Jason. How you doing this morning? Who is the most underrated Eagle entering the 2023 season? I want to know everyone's answers here. So Josh Sweat last year, 11 sacks. I mean, everybody talks about Brandon Graham because he's the legend on this defensive line. Javon Hargrave, the loss of him. Hassan Reddick, second in the league in sacks. Nobody talks about what Josh Sweat. He does the dirty work. He gets just as much pressure on the quarterback as everyone else, and we don't talk about him ever. And, he's overcome a lot of adversity in his career so far. I mean, hell, 2 years ago, right around that playoff game with the Bucs, I mean, we don't even know if he was dying or not. He was medical emergency. We didn't hear anything about that. And he comes out last year and just straight dominates, on his new, with his new contract and stuff like that. I don't think enough people put respect on his name. What's wrong with Reddick? He's great. And that's the thing, Mad Chatter. Hassan Reddick's on this list, and I got a little blowback for putting Hassan Reddick on this list. And there's a specific reason why. Hassan Reddick is ranked as a top 5 edge rusher, defensive end linebacker, whatever you want to call him, hybrid, guy that tackles the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage. Let's just call it that. He gets a lot of credit for being a top 5, top 6 guy. But in my opinion, he's still underrated because I think he is number 2 in the league, in my opinion. He's tied for second in the league behind Nick Bosa, who had 18.5 sacks last year. He was tied for the lead in forced fumbles. He was tied for the lead in fumble recoveries. He was one of the higher tackles for lost guys out of all these guys. Like, people put Nick Bosa justifiably ahead of him. People put J.J. Watt ahead of him. He's never healthy. People put Micah Parsons ahead of him. That's a borderline thing. People put Chris Jones ahead of him. No way. People put Joey Bosa ahead of him. Never healthy. So the thing is, I think he's underrated, Hassan Reddick, because I think Hassan Reddick is legitly the second best edge rusher in football. There's a little bit of homerism in that possibly. But also, I was a fan of Hassan Reddick 2 years before we got him. 2 years before we got him, there was turmoil in Arizona, and he wanted out. And I said, bring him here. And everyone's like, well, he would have to be in a 3-4. I'm like, no. You can bring him here and just put him on the edge and do whatever. And it didn't work out till last year, getting him here. But I think he should be considered in that Nick Bosa category, and he's not. And that's why I think he's underrated. Stoutland will forever be underrated to me. Just Stoutland, the most underrated Eagle. I mean, I literally put him in the Hall of Fame yesterday. I said, give him the first offensive line coach ever entered into the Hall of Fame, and he's still underrated because he should be the first person, player, or coach in the Hall of Fame while still playing or coaching. That's how good Jeff Stoutland is. Reddick outperformed. Marshawn, this is a fantastic comment here, and this is something I haven't actually said this on the air, but it's kind of been percolating in my head. He signed a 5-year deal, I believe. Was it a 3-year deal or 5-year? Whatever he did. I said to myself, it was a 3-year, $50-some million contract. And I said, there's a chance that he's going to outperform it. And after last year ended, I'm like, oh, man, he's going to hold out and want more money tacked on because that's what these players do. And, say what you will. Like, I get it. If the contracts are not fully guaranteed, they want to hold out for more. They do. I am so surprised. I think it says a lot about the character of Hassan Reddick that he's paid like a 10th or 15th best edge rusher, yet he's the second best in the league. And I think if he has a follow-up season like he did this year, you will see them have to find a way to renegotiate that final third year of his deal because there's no way he's going to play on that deal for a third year. And he deserves it. If he plays like he did last year, this year, I see another 16, 17 sacks from him this year. There's no reason to think that he can't do it. What is up, Judd? How you doing this morning? We really should have won the Super Bowl last year. We were so close. Dude, we're talking underrated Eagles this year. 2 weeks from today, everybody reports for training camp. And I'm so excited because I've still got such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't drink champagne, just so you know. I hate champagne. It's the worst thing in the world. But you know what? If they win the Super Bowl this upcoming year, I will pop a bottle of champagne live on the air with you guys. I will. And I hate champagne, but I will do it for you. That's by definition. Reddick is a top rusher. No one in conversation would list him. Don't even really know his name. Look, I think he's not rated high enough. I think he is the number 2 edge rusher in football. I do. I honestly thought Reddick was going to be a bust signing, not because he's a bad player, but we really had bad free agent signings in the past. Yeah, I mean, if you want to say, I knew I've been following his career for a while. I knew how good he was. I was concerned how the defense of Jonathan Gannon was going to utilize him. And they did have him dropping back into coverage more than I would like. But even with all that, he still had 16 sacks last year. Imagine if he dropped back in coverage 5% less. He might have had 18 or 19 sacks. What's Strahan's record? Like 22 sacks? Oh, he could have gone for that last year if he just blitzed every single time he was out there. But he did what he was supposed to. He did what the team asked him. He's playing on a great team-friendly contract. Like he is, we talk about who's the leader of this team going forward. Reddick's one of the leaders of this team going forward. He is, without a shadow of a doubt. He's seemingly unknown compared. Yeah, if you go walk a street, you see these YouTube and TikTok videos of people asking questions to strangers on the street. If you go down the street of a random big city outside of Philadelphia, because most Philadelphians would know the name Reddick. I bet you there'd even be people in the city of Philadelphia that don't know the name Reddick. But you ask them the name Joey Bosa or Nicky Bosa, more people would know that name. You say Von Miller, more people know that name than Reddick probably. Micah Parsons, probably more people know that name than Hassan Reddick. And I think that's uncalled for, unfair, not cool, because he is that damn good. Jonathan Gannon was committing criminal offense in the first few weeks. I mean, he dropped into coverage all year long. He actually did. But, man, just think about last year. 16 sacks. He didn't have his first sack till game 3. I predicted 18 and a half sacks for him last year. It was a bold prediction. I make 1 or 2 bold predictions every year. And Reddick, 18 and a half sacks was it. I'm saying 17 and a half this year. I'm making it a little bit more realistic for him. Josh Sweat is on the list of most underrated Eagles. And I think it's, we're spending, I've said Josh Sweat's name. Then everybody started talking Hassan Reddick. So we've been talking about Hassan Reddick for 8 minutes now. But Josh Sweat, to me, is even more underrated than Hassan Reddick because he does so much dirty work. And he puts in the work. He keeps his head down. Like, he is just criminally underrated on this team. Many say it was Sam Darnold to Arnold connection that gave them 5-win start, but it was Reddick all over. Reddick is just something special. He really is. It's something we haven't seen in Philadelphia in a while. You think Reddick will drop back into coverage less this year? No, I think you're going to see. Look, Sean Desai, we can't really take much from his time as the 1-year defensive coordinator of the Bears in 2021. That was just a dumpster fire of a team that year, the Bears organization. They had the Coach Nagy situation. They didn't know. I think they started, what's his name? The redhead, for a few games. They were bouncing quarterbacks all over the place. But he's a disciple and has worked under Vic Fangio a lot. You're not going to see a lot of blitz packages what you're going to see is 4 or 5 guys get their head down and go after the quarterback, and everybody else drops back in coverage. So that means if you've got your 2 defensive tackles, Brandon Graham or Josh Sweat, you're going to have Reddick there. Sometimes Reddick's going to blitz. Sometimes he's going to drop back. Same thing with Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith's going to drop back into coverage occasionally. You're going to have people like Smith and Reddick on the ends. One's going to drop back and one's going to go. The defense isn't going to know who. It creates a little bit of a puzzle box for the offensive line of the opposing team. I don't think he'll drop back into coverage as much or much more, but he will at times drop back into coverage. This is an interesting one. This was not commented. We haven't even gotten to the third name, Landon Dickerson, yet, but we will. Jake Elliott is underrated. His field goal to put us up 8 against the Pats was no gimme, and he was 5 of 6 from over 50 last year. He had a 56-yarder or 2. He's got obviously a 61-yarder a couple times in his career. Jake Elliott, I mean, we had like the 20th ranked defense last year, or special teams last year. But outside of, if you take Jake Elliott's kicking portion out, we had the worst special teams in the league. We had the worst coverage teams in the league, but we had the best kickers, so that kind of bumped us up a little bit. Is Jake Elliott underrated? I don't know if he still is. I know when he signed his current contract, he was the highest paid kicker in football for a hot minute. Who would ever think a kicker is important? And I was on a show that last weekend, Edge of Philly Sports Over Under Prediction. They were talking Jake Elliott predictions, and I can't. I was talking about certain things about him, and it brought into my mind: will he have more opportunities this year or less opportunities to kick field goals this year? Because you've got a new offensive coordinator in Brian Johnson, first time calling plays in the NFL, and Nick Sirianni, who likes to be aggressive. Will he continue to be aggressive with Brian Johnson and give Brian Johnson the chance to call the right plays on 4th down? Or will Nick Sirianni be cautious at first with Brian Johnson and kick more field goals at first while Brian Johnson becomes comfortable in his new role? It'll be really interesting. It's something that nobody talks about. Nobody talks special teams or kicking, anything like that. But that scenario of what kind of confidence Nick Sirianni is going to show in Brian Johnson right from the jump in play calling. It's something to keep an eye on. It's something we can talk about more as the offseason rolls along. But I think it's very important. Can't wait to see Phil face when Arnold pulling down tutties. If Dan Arnold becomes a great tight end for the Eagles and is a great tight end too, dude, I'd be more than happy to eat crow on it. I can't wait to. Dude, man, Chad, you don't know me well enough. I absolutely love admitting when I'm wrong. No other YouTuber, sportscaster, shout out to Broads, getting laid off this week. He's a competitor to an extent, but I never like to see anybody lose a job in the media. Look, you had 97.5 making major cuts this past week or yesterday. The New York Post canceled their entire sports department of their newspaper. Look, I don't whatever, but none of those big names or low names will admit when they are wrong on a show. They'll find an excuse. Me, I'll admit my mistakes. If Dan Arnold has more than 1 touchdown this year, I will eat so much crow because I just don't buy it. I don't buy him. Jake doesn't have a cool nickname. He just delivers. Is that his nickname? He just delivers? Is he Jake from State Farm? Has Jake passed David Akers? I love David Akers, man. I had an opportunity to interview him like 3 years ago on a starter podcast of mine. Man, I'm a huge David Akers fan. But we won a Super Bowl with Jake Elliott as our kicker. We didn't win no Super Bowl with David Akers. I don't think statistically speaking he's past David Akers, though. So, yeah, I mean, it's neck and neck, Jake Elliott and David Akers. All right, let me bring up some more names here. So first off, Landon Dickerson was part of the poll, and he tied Josh Sweat for so far the overall lead. And again, we'll revisit this in a couple of days because there's still 2 days left on this poll. More names will be added, more comments will be added to it, and I want to see what the final results are. But Landon Dickerson, we spent a lot of time talking about Jason Kelce, a lot of time talking about Lane Johnson. We spend time talking about Jordan Mailata because of the rugby story. But do we ever talk about Landon Dickerson? I mean, literally, he was brought in to be Jason Kelce's replacement originally. And then we had an opening at left guard, and he was just thrown to the wolves there. And he instantly, within a year, became an all-pro, one of the best left guards in football, like that. Literally like that. had nothing but injury history attached to him. Maybe we weren't happy we drafted him because of the injury history. I brought it up when he was drafted. I didn't say I didn't like the pick. I just said there's some risk there. Then he goes out there and becomes the best left guard in football. Like that. And I think there's something to be said that whether you lose Lane Johnson or you lose Landon Dickerson for an extended period of time, it's detrimental to the offensive line. We've said it all day yesterday, most important Eagles. Keeping a healthy offensive line is important. But we never talk about what would happen if we lost Landon Dickerson. Who's going to take over for him? We got Dallas Goedert is fairly underrated. Not the same. Well, that second part, the Eagles were not the same when he got hurt. So I rate Dallas Goedert. You might say I underrate him. But I rate him as the fourth, fifth, sixth best tight end in football. I think he could be a top 2 or 3 tight end in football. I do think that. But he's not because of the injury issues. 12 games missed the last 3 years. 2 of those years, he missed 5 games. So 5 games last year, 2 games the year before, 5 games the year before that. If you're missing 5 games a year, you're not underrated. You're injury prone. To me, that is how he should be rated. But that part where they're not the same team when he got hurt, you're so spot on with that. I mean, there's no doubt about it that the offense changed drastically. And that's why Dan Arnold's not the answer. That's why Jack Stoll is not the answer. That's why Grant Calcaterra is not the answer. You need to be able to have another guy that can properly stretch the middle of the field when Dallas Goedert goes down, because Dallas Goedert, according to everything we've seen over not 1 year, but 3 straight years, is he doesn't stay healthy. So is he underrated? I'm going to disagree that he's underrated. I rate him personally, I think, pretty fairly. Could be the best tight end, one of the best tight ends in football, but isn't, because he's got Kelsey skill set. But he's never there. Everybody, is hyping up Darren Waller going to the Giants. Well, Darren Waller's never healthy either. Darren Waller misses so much time. So you got it. We bitch and moan about Joel Embiid's never staying healthy all the time. We bitch and moan about, Carson Wentz always getting hurt when he was with the Eagles, after the beginning part of his career. But no one ever talks about the injury-prone Dallas Goedert. Everyone just talks about how awesome he is. You miss 5 games a year. That's 5 games a year, man. There's no doubt about it. So, I don't agree that he's underrated. I think he's fairly rated, but would be considered underrated if he played a full season. That if he played a full 17 games, even if he played 16 games, you're talking 1,000-yard tight end right there. But he doesn't play 16 games. He doesn't play 15 games. He played 12 games last year. So we had Landon Dickerson on this list. I want to start going through some of the comments on this post here. Landon Dickerson, we had an extra comment for him, because that with people that really do feel that I was spot on by putting Landon Dickerson's name on this poll. And real quick, we got 9 likes on the YouTube videos page so far. Only 1 on Facebook. If you're watching, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit that share button. Make sure you tell a friend to jump on in here. Talking Eagles here on Trending in the AM. Let's page through these here. Somebody saying, what up, 79? Saying the most underrated aspect of this team is the scouting department, because all of a sudden we've started scouting and drafting so much better. I don't know if the scouting department's underrated. I think Howie Roseman's just improved in his decision-making on draft day. Someone else telling me Hassan Reddick not underrated. All due respect, he's the top outside linebacker and is treated such. I just don't think he's treated high enough. Another one saying, I think all Eagles fans know Reddick is top 5. And I say, no, he's top 2 or 3. And this is what I want to get to real here. Quez Watkins comes to mind as an underrated player on this team. He runs a 4.3 40 and pivotal upcoming season on the line for him. Is Quez Watkins underrated? Because of his 3 bad turnovers that caused 3 losses. He wasn't the only reason why we lost those games, but his 3 big mistakes were in 3 big games, one being the Super Bowl. And you can't blame him for the Super Bowl loss completely. Jalen Hurts had a turnover. Obviously, the Bradbury penalty, the bad field, the wet field conditions. I'm not going to talk about that. But are we writing Quez Watkins off too soon? I mean, I've spent how much time this offseason on this show talking about needing another wide receiver. I mentioned Jarvis Landry, DeAndre Hopkins, all the names. You know the names that are out there, available trade or free agents. I keep saying we need a new third wide receiver. But is Quez underrated? Is he better? I mean, the coaching staff talks him up pretty well. The Jalen Hurts, the leader, talks him up pretty well. Yeah, I'm not talking about the field conditions. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to live in the past. I'm not going to live in the past anymore. I'm ready for 2023. I got a bad taste for 2022 with that Super Bowl. I'm ready to live in the future and the now. And the now is forgetting about the field conditions. Quez is mid. I tend to agree. Quez is overrated. But when some people bring into the comments that maybe we're undervaluing what Quez is capable of, look, so he made some bad turnovers. Most of his turnovers, though, were because he was trying to do too much. Make a big catch, try to get up when he fell down, hit from behind, not protect the football. A lot of his mistakes, were they coachable? Were they fixable mistakes that the coaching staff this offseason could really spend some time working with him and making him better? Quez reminds me of Freddie Mitchell. The people's chicken. Flashes of greatness, but not consistent. I don't know if I would call him Freddie Mitchell, but the rest of your point here, flashes of greatness, but not consistent. Yeah, I could get behind that. Freddie Mitchell was even less. I mean, Freddie Mitchell barely did he have like 12 catches in his career with the Eagles. He was more excited about doing his belt dance and it's time. Give me the ball. Look, I get it. I get it. But does that make him overrated, underrated? I don't know. No, I came up with Jason Avant being the slot receiver. Doesn't matter what was going on the field or in the world. He's making the catch. Quez had too many crucial drops. I don't think I can let it go. And I think that's a very fair comment. He made the catches a lot of times, Judd. At least in my memory, I remember him making the catches. What I'm remembering is him making the catch, falling down, and then trying to get back up and hit from behind. Was that the Washington game? Him trying to stretch for an extra yard or two. Ball being pumped out of him. That's what I remember about him. Trying to do too much. That's just what I'm thinking. If he caught those passes, he would be underrated. If he didn't make those big mistakes, he'd be underrated. Okay, I mean, but is there still hope with him? I mean, it still looks like at this moment that he is the number 3 wide receiver on this team. At this moment, it doesn't appear that they're going to bring another wide receiver option in. If you only had one option to upgrade wide receiver 3 or upgrade safety, you're going to spend your money on safety, not upgrading Quez Watkins, right? If you can upgrade a linebacker position or Quez Watkins, you're going to upgrade the linebacker position, right? You still got A.J. Brown. You still got Devontae Smith. I don't know. Maybe we're overrated. Gabe Davis or Quez Watkins. Gabe Davis 2 years ago came into this, had that huge playoff run with the Bills. Everybody expected him to be the next great wide receiver, and did he? Did he do anything really much different than Quez last year? Quez could save my family from a house fire. I'd ask if he dropped our valuables on the way out. Yeah. Look, at least he's not dropping babies like when Nelson Aguilar and you had the other guy catching babies and doing those videos. Look, we've had I think we underrate Quez a little bit, but we overvalue his 3 mistakes because he literally made 3 mistakes last year. Big crucial mistakes. They were huge moments. Get all that. Maybe he's better than we give him credit for. Absolutely, safety and linebacker, but exactly. So if that's the case, maybe we're underrating him. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's go. We got more names on this. Hold on. Oh man, I gotta go find that video and reshare it out. That guy had his 5 minutes of fame there. I wonder what that guy's doing now. I don't even remember his name or anything. Let's go down this list. Let me find another name on this list. Let's see here. We got more. Somebody commented that Lane Johnson is underrated. Not by us Eagles fans, but by the rest of the league. We call Lane Johnson the best right tackle in football. The rest of the league does not. Does that make Lane Johnson underrated? Gabe, very limited route tree. Gabe, very limited route tree. Same thing with Quez Watkins. They have one thing: run faster than everybody else and hope to catch the ball and hope not to get caught. Is Lane Johnson underrated by the rest of the league? I got my man Pat Man, Eagles fan. Sidney Brown is underrated. He is going to start for the Eagles and be a star. We talk nonstop about this safety position. You got Reed Blankenship and Terrell Edmonds. They're slotted at this moment to be the starting safeties. Very mid. Sidney Brown had a lot of potential coming out of college. We drafted him. If we don't upgrade safety, if we don't go get Buda Baker or whoever else to upgrade that safety position, is there a chance that Sidney Brown can beat out Reed or Edmonds to start? I don't think so, but I think he can earn that role throughout the season pretty quickly. And underrated, I think it's too soon to underrate or overrate Sidney Brown on that comment. I'm a normie. Lane Johnson might come out, if you ask me, top, tackle. Not just right or left, just a top tackle, period. Like, he's that good. And if you look at the numbers, he hasn't given up a sack in like 31 games. I think that's the number. If the statistician's watching, they can give me the exact number. But it's been over 2 full seasons of no sacks given up by Lane Johnson. Barely gives up a pressure. I mean, he's that good. Problem is he has an injury history lately. He's getting older and up there in age, but he is the best right tackle in football. So Sidney Brown, got another interesting one here. David Rode, great comment here. Great follower of mine on Twitter. Kenny Gainwell is underrated. He was the primary back in the playoffs and is being overlooked with the acquisitions of DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. Are we underrating Kenny Gainwell and what kind of an impact he's going to have this year? Pretty common he a top tackle, but he's getting old. Yeah, but he's not a top tackle. He's the best right tackle. And if you don't think he's the best, that means Trent Williams is still playing. But I would take Lane Johnson at this point because over Trent Williams. I would. Mark it down. Write it down. Kenneth Gainwell. Is he underrated? Kenny G, underrated. We're all focused on who's going to get more snaps, Swift or Penny. Penny don't play. He plays 8 games a year, 8.3 games a year. Swift, 10, 11 games a year. But Kenneth Gainwell, last year in the playoffs, especially the Super Bowl, they went away from Miles Sanders. Kenneth Gainwell was on the field the entire Super Bowl for the most part. The offense of Mines, Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, last year Shane Steichen, extremely high on what Kenneth Gainwell is capable of. I just assumed Kenneth Gainwell is just a third down back, a guy that can catch the ball, run some out routes and stuff like that. Like, I don't give Kenneth Gainwell the credit that Mr. David Rowe thinks he deserves. Is Kenny G underrated? I think it's an interesting question. I think it's an interesting point to make. How will the Eagles' running back room shake out? How will it play out? Who's going to get the top targets? Who's going to, be like if you remember the Eagles fans, like back in the day, we had like the 3-headed monster. It was Deuce Staley, it was Carell Buckhalter, and it was Vaughn Hebron. Yeah, Deuce had like 40% of the snaps. It was, or 45% of the snaps. It was, Buckhalter had like 25%, and Vaughn Hebron had like 10. Is this going to be one of those things where one person dominates the snap counts, everyone else just takes a step down, or is it going to be 3 guys each getting 15 touches? Like, it's really interesting. Who's going to be forgotten? And that's a question. Like, I don't know. Like, I still stand by it. There's a chance that Penny doesn't even make the team. There's a chance that Boston Scott doesn't make this team. One of those 2 guys, Penny or Scott, will not be a Philadelphia Eagle in 2023, at least to start the season. You can't have 5 guys. They're not going to lose. They're not going to cut Trey Sermon from the practice squad. He might even make the team. I don't know. I think there's a very interesting situation with this backfield. And we're assuming DeAndre Swift is going to be that lead back. But would it surprise you that after week 1, DeAndre Swift is on the field for 30% of the snaps and Kenneth Gainwell is on the field for 40% of the snaps? Would that surprise you? And it would surprise me, but knowing the Eagles' opinions on Kenneth Gainwell, Kenny G, it's very possible. It's very possible. It goes to show they also, I mean, it's not their MO to spend big on a running back, but realistically speaking, they spent like $4 million on $3 million on two running backs. They spent less on upgrading or replacing Miles Sanders. Did they spend so little and give out so few big guarantees in these contracts? Because realistically speaking, it's Kenneth Gainwell's show. Swift and Penny, not just Penny, and Swift were brought in just as backup options. Is there a chance Kenneth Gainwell is on the field for week one against the New England Patriots? Man, we're so close to that New England Patriots game, too. I just love saying it. Week one, Eagles, New England Patriots, they're winning that game by double digits. Just FYI. They're going to come out and smoke them week one, just so you know. Running back's the most interesting position to watch in preseason. I don't think it is. Because Swift and Penny are injury-prone guys. Kenneth Gainwell is a big part of their plans. Those guys are going to touch the ball very little. Your preseason running backs are going to be Trey Sermon, Boston Scott. They're going to be the guys touching the ball most in preseason. You might see 2 or 3 plays or 2 or 3 drives with Swift, 2 or 3 drives with Gainwell, but that's it. You're not going to see much more than that with those two guys. Maybe you get a little bit of Penny. Maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt you see much of them. They're probably going to bring in a 5th or 6th running back just to get snaps in camp. Patriots, don't make it too hard now. Yeah, I mean, look, the Patriots are going to be a dumpster fire. I don't buy Mac Jones. I just don't. I don't buy him one bit or one iota as an NFL quarterback. I don't think he is. I think they reached to draft him, and they're continuing trotting him out there every year. He's not very good. The Eagles are going to smoke the Patriots week one. We're already looking at like 28, 33 to 10, something like that. We're going to come out and make a big statement to the NFL week one in that game. Isn't that going to be like Tom Brady's retirement night or something? I don't know. Whatever. Again, still no more likes. 9 likes on YouTube, guys. Likes equal views. Like equals longer shows. Likes equal everything. Share it out. 1 like on Facebook. Come on. Let's go. Let's pound it like. Go tap a few friends on the shoulder. Tell them to tune in here. Kenneth Gainwell. Underrated. I actually really love that answer. And I think it's something that is very possible. All right, so there's another one on here that I want to get to. I saved this one for last because I always say I love George. George is one of my guys. You know, he's been with me since day one, commenting and working with me on these shows and discussing things and always bringing a voice of reason. And he said a name that I've mentioned a few times lately on this show, one Mr. Derek Barnett is underrated. And I was like, I love it. I love that answer because I think he is underrated. Just think about Derek Barnett for a second. First-round draft pick, the guy that broke Reggie White's record at Tennessee, sack record, came in the league with all the hype. He's had injury issues. He's had penalty issues. He's had disappointing seasons. He is on a 1-year, $1 million deal. He is part of now the deepest rotation at getting after the quarterback in the NFL. He's basically being brought in because he got hurt, week 1 last year, week 2 last year? He's basically being brought in and added to a rotation that had 70 sacks last year. Hopefully the refs forgot about Derek Barnett, forgot who he was. And I firmly believe a lot of his penalties are by reputation because he had a bad reputation at first in the NFL. Now, if he even gets close to a quarterback, they just throw the flag because it's Derek Barnett. He must be doing something wrong. We keep talking about where are Javon Hargrave's sacks going to come from. What do you have, like 11 sacks last year, Hargrave? Those 11 sacks got to be replaced. That production's got to be replaced at getting after the quarterback. I know Hargrave was inside. Derek Barnett's on the outside. But remember like 2020-ish, Vinny Curry in his second run. He just came in every other third down, just put his nose down, ran straight at the quarterback, had like 3 or 4 sacks. Wasn't a huge part of the team, but is an effective, vital, rotational piece on the team. I think Derek Barnett can do that. At 1.5, 1.1, whatever it is, $1 million for this year, that's underrated. Howie Roseman, I don't even know if Dirk Barnett's guaranteed a roster spot, to be honest with you. But I think at his price, what the Eagles defense is going to try to do, keep guys fresh, keep the rotation going, all that stuff. I think it's very, very underrated aspect of this defense is what Dirk Barnett can do. I mean, as long as he doesn't commit any costly penalties and bad moments, if Dirk Barnett comes out this year, plays 22% of the snaps on defense, gets you 3.5 sacks, nobody would expect any of that. Most people just want him off the scene. I bet you if you asked 100 Eagles fans if they knew whether Dirk Barnett was still on the team or not, I bet you 50, 60% of Eagles fans, the casuals, would say they didn't even know he was still here because it's been so long since he's played. I love that answer. Dirk Barnett is completely underrated, guys, on this team. I think I hit all the commented ones so far. Yeah, Landon Dickerson, Barnett. I'm trying to read the scouting department. Hassan Reddick. Yeah, we got him there. Reddick, Quez Watkins. There's another comment there. All good choices. Hassan Reddick single-handedly destroyed the Niners, and not enough credit was given. See, I forgot. I missed this one. I just thought it was another one of the people bashing me for putting Reddick on this poll. But no, it's Bill fan, ride or die. He's not a Bills fan. He's a Bill. He's an Eagles fan, ride or die. All good choices, but Reddick single-handedly destroyed the 49ers, and not enough credit has been given to that. If the Super Bowl field wasn't – we're not talking about the Super Bowl field anymore, Bill. He would have done the same to the Chiefs. I love it. I've seen that Lane Johnson is underrated commented again. That just kind of like jumps out at me again. Are there any other Eagles? I want to pull up the Eagles roster real quick here, and I want to see if anybody else is flying under the radar as underrated. Give me a second to pull up their depth chart and see what comes up here. Jalen Hurts is not underrated. Marcus Mariota sucks. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Dallas Goedert, no. Offensive line is what it is. We've already talked about that a lot. Defensively speaking, any of these names underrated? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think any other names. I think we've nailed the underrated names. Maybe Avonte Maddox a little bit, but again, he's never available. He's always hurt, so that would be no for him. Milton Williams, maybe. Yeah, Marcus Mariota. Dude, no offense to the Eagles. Like, I think if it comes down to it that Jalen Hurts gets hurt, last year I wasn't a huge Gardner Minshew fan, and I didn't buy into the Minshew mania stuff. But I will say this, that I just don't. I would rather Gardner Minshew right now than Marcus Mariota. I know Marcus Mariota is more like Jalen Hurts, but, man, Marcus Mariota is not good. And if Jalen Hurts goes down for more than a game or two, I think we're in trouble. And I think if you have to say one of his biggest missteps, Howie Roseman, this offseason, it might have been the choice to replace Gardner Minshew as the backup quarterback. Man, if Marcus Mariota's got to start 4 games this year, we're in trouble. Not because we lost Jalen Hurts, just because Marcus Mariota. Like, depending on the 4 games. But I could see Gardner Minshew going 1-3 or 2-2 in 4 games if he had to start for the Eagles. Team's great. But if Marcus Mariota's got to start 4 games, we might not win any of them. It's bad. Getting Mariota later years, it's just funny. Hey, we never thought we would get Fletcher Cox and Marcus Mariota on the same team. Because if we had a hashtag done the deal, do the deal, Fletcher Cox would have been part of that deal for Chip Kelly to get the draft pick to get Marcus Mariota. But now they're teammates. Kayvon Wallace, underrated. Kayvon Wallace stinks. Let me say that. Let me start my answer right there. Kayvon Wallace stinks. But Kayvon Wallace at the end of last year finally started to do a few things. I used to always say Kayvon Wallace, all of Kayvon Wallace's tackles came from behind. He'd be running after somebody and get them from behind because he was trying to catch up to them. He had like 3 or 4 tackles at the end of the season where he got them in front, where he was able to catch them in front of them and not let them extend plays. He made like 3 or 4 plays at the end of the season. That's good. That's good. I just don't know if I could say he's underrated. I mean, I'll say this now. Because of the depth chart as it stands now, he makes the team. But if they go out there, you normally have about 4.5 safeties, 4 safeties and a hybrid safety cornerback. There's so many cornerbacks on this team. Bradbury, Slay, Maddox, Greedy Williams, Kelly Ringo, Zach McPherson, Joby, Scott. Then you got Edmonds, Blankenship, Kayvon Wallace, Sidney Brown, Justin Evans. They're your 5 safeties listed right now. If they go out and get, say, a Buda Baker, I hate to say it to you, the odd man out at safety is going to be Kayvon Wallace. This might be the year that you see towards the end of camp Kayvon Wallace get cut. I really think that there's a chance of that. One other name, I didn't put him in the poll. I hoped other people would have put him, in the comments. I purposely leave certain names off of polls to create more engagement, to create more comments. And you guys know, I can't believe no one said it. You guys all watch the show every day. And nobody said Milton Williams' name as being an underrated Eagle. Like, seriously. Y'all know he's like my favorite underrated Eagle on this roster. Y'all know I see high-level production coming from Milton Williams this year. Like, I'm not worried about the loss of Javon Hargrave, not because of Jalen Carter, not because of Jordan Davis in his second year, but because I'm so high on Milton Williams. Like, I think the guy's a stud. Stud. And nobody mentioned him. I'm heartbroken. I am heartbroken no one mentioned Milton Williams in here. Look, I said it before, I'll say it again. I really need to look up the stats so I have the exact stats. But based off a percentage of snaps played, Milton Williams is either the 3rd or 4th best defensive tackle last year in football. Now, he only played like 30% of snaps, so it's a small sample size. But it was Aaron Donald, somebody else, and it was Milton Williams. I mean, you're literally saying Aaron Donald's name, and then 2 spots below it is Milton Williams' name. Based off a percentage of snaps, that's how good he is. But yet, everyone's worried about Jalen Carter. What's he going to do? Is he going to start? Everyone's wondering about Jordan Davis. Is he going to get up from his 30-some% snaps to closer to 50%? Fletcher Cox, does he got anything left in the tank? I don't care about any of them. I need Milton Williams starting 55% of snaps this year. And if you do see that, you're going to see Milton Williams with 6-7 sacks this year. You're going to see him be one of the best run stoppers in football. He already is in a small sample size. He had 3 or 4 sacks last year in that small sample size. I'm telling you, Milton Williams is going to be a key cog of this defense. 100%. But we got the most important Eagles yesterday. We got the most underrated Eagles today. I think it all comes around to the decision-making that Howie Roseman made. And we're going to talk Howie Roseman and his decision-making later this week, the coaches later this week and stuff like that. You call him mid-Milton, you're going to get a 5-minute ban from the show. Can I do that on this show? Is there a way on YouTube that I put a 5-minute clock on the screen and Mad Chatter's not allowed to comment for 5 minutes? Don't besmirch the name Milton Williams. Don't do it. Or I'm going to find a way to put a 5-minute countdown clock that you're not allowed to talk for. Milton is out of Hargrave's shadow. We will find out. Can't flip and wait. Dude, like, it is literally one of the 3 or 4 most exciting things player-wise that I have this year is what Milton Williams can be. I just saw 2 or 3 plays specifically that sit in my mind that he made. And I just remember I don't even remember what game it was. I just remember him bursting through the defensive line and making a tackle of a running back behind the line of scrimmage as the ball was being handed off. And I'm just like, dude, give this guy more snaps. He's so good. And we just don't know it. You get a lot of those timeouts. I don't know how to do it. Hold on, let me click on this little 3-dot thing here. Does that tell me there is a button there. It says put user in timeout. I didn't even know that was there. I thought there was only a button to block people. I didn't want to block you. It says put user in timeout or ban user and delete their comments. I won't do that. But I could put you in timeout. You don't besmirch that man. I went to Milton High School in Pennsylvania. Oh, man, so you're a little biased. What high school did he? Where are you from? Is he a Philadelphia kid? I didn't even know that. I love that they picked him because his name is Milton. Okay, well, yeah, that's crazy. John, I won't put you in timeout. You haven't said anything. You haven't besmirched Milton Williams' name, so you won't be put in timeout. But if Mad Chatter don't watch himself, yo, guys, Judd, I know you like this. Buffalo week. I'm just going to put Matt Chatter in timeout the entire week, Buffalo week. I'll give him like 5 minutes of talk time and put him in timeout the entire week so we can just bash Buffalo and make him have to watch the entire week. He's a Central PA guy? Gotcha. That's crazy. I did not know that about Milton Williams. I love the guy's play, but I don't actually know a lot about him. Judd, I knew you would like that idea. We are just going to time out Man Chatter Buffalo week for the entire week. Yeah, he's on secret probation the entire week. He's just not going to know it. Yeah. Man, what we get into on this show, man, I don't know. We're 50 minutes in, and this is where we're still at. He has until 8:35 to get his stuff off, and that's it. Yeah, he gets the first 5 minutes of the show. Sometimes, Man Chatter likes to jump into the comments before the show even starts. Judd, I got 5 comments some days before the show starts. I'm from Central PA. Oh, I'm just so confused. I don't know what's going on here. We got like 3 things going on here, and I don't even know what we're saying. Okay, but you went to ski. All right, gotcha. At least you're in Central PA. At least you're an Eagles fan and not a Pittsburgh fan. Makes me feel a little bit better. Those Central PA guys, they tend to lean towards Pittsburgh because they don't have a hometown team, and Pittsburgh won all these Super Bowls back in the day. Everyone just wants to be a Steelers fan. It's fugazi reason. It's like my brother being a 49ers fan because when he was a kid growing up, the Eagles stunk, and Joe Montana was the best quarterback in football. I think he was, I think my brother was the wrong child picked up at the hospital when my parents went to get him out of the little room there. I think they picked the wrong one up because he's such a fugazi with his 49ers and Bulls love because he just gravitated towards the best teams when he was a kid. He's older than me. He might be watching. He never does, but occasionally he pops in. Birds all the way every day. Man, like I said, this point, 2 weeks from now, players are going to be rolling into the NovaCare complex to sign in for training camp. Do you realize we're 2 weeks away? We've talked almost all Eagles football, a little bit of basketball, a smidge of baseball this week so far. I love it. Once the season starts, it's football every day. Oh, he's from Texas. I thought so. Dance with the team you came with. Now, you dance with the team where you live, your home team. I believe it's very important to cheer for your home team, the team that you live and breathe in your city. If you move to another city, you still got to cheer for the team you're from, where you're originally from. But you should also show, like, if I moved to, say, Miami, I should show some support to the Dolphins. Eagles would still have to be my number 1 team, but I should show some support for the local team. You always got to show support for the local team. Got to. All right. Real quick, I want to change. We got about 15, 20 minutes left of showtime today. I want to bring back the baseball conversation in a few minutes, and I want to talk a few minutes of Sixers. All right? I really do. I got something I really need to talk about Sixers-wise, and it's something that really annoys me about Daryl Morey. The Dolphins do stink, but they're not going to be last place in the division. The AFC East, it's going to be Buffalo, first place. It is going to be the Dolphins in second place in that division. It is going to be the Patriots in third place and the New York Football Jets in fourth place, because I'll stand by it. That Aaron Rodgers experiment in New York is going to blow up. It's going to be a bomb. It's a ticking time bomb. So we talk Eagles, and we talk Howie Roseman, and just how he's evolved as a general manager, president of a team, and how he's run his organization the last couple of years. Mac Jones, 4th-round talent. Yo, you ain't wrong there. He might not even be that. Mac Jones is not Mac Jones is not an NFL quarterback. There is no doubt about it that he is not an NFL quarterback in my mind. But we talk always about Howie Roseman and how he has evolved and how he's built this team. He builds a Super Bowl winning team. It falls apart. He rebuilds it. He's learned so much from his mistakes. Daryl Morey has never learned from his mistakes. Daryl Morey is not an NBA champion, president, or GM. He's come up small so many times. And this Sixers organization as a whole is just unfortunate and how it's run. Like, so I've gotten a lot of blowback on Twitter for my saying this, okay? But I don't know if you guys saw it on social media. The Philadelphia 76ers put out a little hype video for Paul Reed, and they're matching his offer sheet and bringing him back. And it's titled, You Spoke, We Heard, and Listened, or something like that. So they go out there and they put this hype video together, basically saying, basically with all the tweets of all the Sixers fans wanting Paul Reed back, basically saying the only reason we brought him back is to make you guys happy, to appease the fans. Now, that might be me overreacting a little bit. Maybe that's not why they did it. But by them putting out this little hype video, they're making Paul Reed become this huge, important focal point of the offseason. They're giving themselves an opportunity that if Paul Reed doesn't develop anymore, if Paul Reed is a bust, and I still think that there's a chance that Paul Reed's not great. Paul Reed will always be an okay backup center in the NBA, I think. He could become really good, but he might not get any better than he is. If it's a mistake signing him to this 3-year deal where you got to guarantee a lot of it, he's got trade control in it. Like, this deal is not a positive deal for the Sixers. But they can say, look, we did it to make you guys happy. You wanted Paul Reed, so we brought him back. Sixers talk is depressing. It is. But I got to get this part off my chest because I'm really, look, it might not have been Daryl Morey's idea to do this. Maybe this was the marketing department. Maybe it was Josh Harris. Maybe this is who knows whose idea it was to put this video together with fans' tweets in it, pictures, hype things. Look, it was basically a hype video to give them an out to blame somebody else if this doesn't work out. I think it was wrong. Paul Reed signing doesn't hit as well because they brought back Trez. Yeah, like, I don't think the Sixers had any intention of bringing Paul Reed back. You've got to save face sometimes in an organization. They brought in Mo Bamba. They brought back Trez. They were ready to let Paul Reed go. And they did. Because they knew they've already pissed the fan base off so much. They already see the hate they get for letting Charles Bassey and Isaiah Joe go and McDaniels go. They get rid of Matisse, a fan favorite for McDaniels, and lose McDaniels. Like, they got to keep some fan favorite. Paul Reed's a fan favorite. I like Paul Reed. I don't buy the Paul Reed hype. Everyone makes this Paul Reed hype train think that he's like this game-changer player. He's all right. He does some things well. Paul Reed starting playing 30 minutes a game over 70 games, it would never work. It just wouldn't. But they're making it like that he's a returning superhero. Do I like Matisse's new, what was it, like 3 years, $33 million? It's a lot of money for Matisse Thybulle. It is. And if we didn't trade him for McDaniels, we wouldn't have matched that. There's no way we would have matched that deal. Matisse is an enigma to me. He's got greatest of all time defensive abilities, but his offensive game has not evolved at all. You see little glimmers of hope every so often, and you don't see it again. Now, maybe part of that was Doc Rivers not utilizing him right, but $33 million for Matisse Thybulle, that's a lot of money. And I know Mark, when he's in the comments, he would say, don't besmirch the name Matisse Thybulle. It's not besmirching him to say he's a mid player. $33 million is a lot. Even in today's NBA, with the way the contracts roll, he's nothing special. Like, Paul Reed got 8.23, just under 8, or 3 for 23, just under $8 million a year. You telling me Matisse Thybulle's worth $11 million a year? Like, I say Paul Reed's mid. Well, Matisse is just as mid. I don't know. I think that's that was a tough pill to swallow, seeing that price tag go to him, because I didn't think he was worth that at all. I really did not. But I'm not a fan of this hype video thing. I think it's just, I might be overreacting a little bit, but it's also the Sixers overreacting to try to save face, to try to bring some positivity to what's been a very negative offseason for the Sixers team. As Marshawn said, depressing talk in them. Well, they know that. They see that. They understand that. But they didn't need to put this video. They could have just announced it, bringing them back. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's Paul Reed. It's not Joel Embiid. It's Paul Reed. It's not James Harden. Paul Reed moves the needle a little bit. Those other guys move the needle a lot. I know the fans love Paul Reed. They love the name B-Ball Paul. They love to say that he was held back by Doc Rivers. But don't give me that Paul Reed's a power forward. Don't give me that he's a stretch 4. He's not. He's not going to start. Maybe he plays 18 minutes a game if they play him at the 4 a little bit. But most likely he's a 10, 12-minute. Paul Reed last year was a 10-minute a game guy, playing the 10 minutes that Joel Embiid didn't play. That's it. And you're making a big deal about it? Oh, yeah, maybe Joel Embiid gets sat a little bit more this year than he has in the past. Don't give me that. I can't get behind that hype video. And we listened to the fans and gave them what they want headline. So you're basically saying you didn't want the guy, but we signed him just for you guys. So if he doesn't work out, it's your fault that it doesn't work out, not our fault. Don't blame us 2 years from now when this is an untradeable contract. Don't do that. When he doesn't develop anymore, don't blame us. You wanted him, we gave him to you. That is the worst way to run an organization. Running an organization to appease the fans is the worst way to do it. And I don't know if it's I don't know if that's really what it is. But if it's not that, they made a big mistake with that video yesterday. What is up, Eric? How you doing today? Hope work's treating you well. Morey called him an hour and a half left and said, we're matching. Actually, I heard rumors that they had signed the sheet like Saturday morning. Like 28, 30 hours before they announced it. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but my sources, which is my Twitter feed, says it was signed early Saturday. If they wanted to please the fans, they should have kept. Maybe. The comment of the day right there, Adam. Fantastic job. Love it. I think I'm just done. Show's over. No, yeah. Adam, you're spot on with that. They should have kept Jimmy Butler to appease the fans. Look, Eric, I want I might not agree with every decision Howie Roseman makes. But Howie Roseman makes his decisions for the Eagles based off of what's best for the team right now and going forward. He signs contracts that are helpful now and going forward. He's playing chess right now, but he's playing 3D chess for 3 years from now. Daryl Morey is literally just the chaser. Like, he's just chasing after whatever. He's being so overreactory to what's going on instead of being proactive and thinking 3 steps ahead. This might go down as one of the worst Philadelphia sports off seasons for all the teams in a long time. You know, we crushed Ruben Amaro in this city for a while. I love Ruben Amaro. I think he does a better job on pre and post game show and on the Phillies games with Tom McCarthy when he's there than people give him credit for. We crush him for giving Carlos Ruiz and Ryan Howard these contracts and whatnot. But he was trying to maintain, that superstar. We had won a World Series already. He was trying to maintain it. And honestly, I don't think his contracts were as bad as people realize. But this offseason for Daryl Morey trumps anything that he did there. Trumps it all. Kelly Oubre this season. You're the same person that tweeted to me this. Somebody tweeted me, who would I rather, Kelly Oubre or Danny Green yesterday? And I actually chose Danny Green because I'm a Danny Green fan. But yeah, Kelly Oubre is still available as well. They're not going to change this into Oubre or Danny Green. No, nobody that's available is going to change the trajectory of this offseason. It's still a bad offseason. I mean, Kelly Oubre doesn't even play all the time. He's hurt 90% of the time. I'd have to check, but I think he gets hurt a lot, Kelly Oubre, anyway. And Danny Green, I mean, he's old. He just knows Nick Nurse's system. He's got championship pedigree. I still say, we beat the Hawks in that playoff series a few years ago if Danny Green doesn't go down in game 1. I firmly believe that. Morey not only does understand basketball and is telling, he also doesn't understand the Philadelphia fan base. Yeah, because I think the Philadelphia fan base, some of them, like me, can see right through that Paul Reed video tweet. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And I had a lot of people telling me, dude, relax, it's no big deal. The video really rubbed me the wrong way yesterday. Because it just wasn't necessary. It wasn't. It was making a mockery of this offseason to an extent. I think that actually sums up my feelings. That video made a mockery of the offseason. PJ Washington and Kelly Oubre, Combat Pack fan. That's not going to turn the tide. That's not going to make us beat Boston in Game 7. It's not. Look, I don't know how to fix the Sixers offseason. I don't. But Daryl Morey, what does the Green Arrow say, Stephen Amell? You have failed this city. Dude, I need Stephen Amell to put the Green Arrow costume back on and go to Daryl Morey with his bow and arrow and just stand in front of him. You have failed this city. Because he has. Honestly, we should have beaten the Hawks without Danny. Well, yeah, we should have. But we were playing. His leadership, his championship experience might have changed that. So that's what I'm saying. We lost his leadership, his defense, and whatnot. PJ Washington. Exactly. Like, no offense to Marshawn. It just doesn't do anything for me, man. It doesn't change anything. Nobody got hyped about my Green Arrow quote. Sorry. I was a CW. I was a fan of the Arrowverse, the Flash, the Green Arrow. At least when the shows first started and their first few crossovers. I was a fan. The Arrow. I thought Stephen Amell did a kick-ass job playing basically, Bruce Wayne as the Arrow. But yeah. Anyway, we're almost done with the show. I gotta cut off a little early. But for those that are late to the show, the fans who aren't drunken pessimists, we're actually passionate and really intelligent people with great basketball, hockey, baseball, football in mind. Love it. It's a great comment. Absolutely agree with you on that. And that's a majority of the fan base. Lou Williams engineering a comeback against us is poetic justice. Yeah, Lou Williams retired, didn't he? Yeah, so Lou Williams is done. Lou Williams, is he a Hall of Famer? I know he's not, but should he at least get talked about? One of the best bench scorers in the history of the NBA? Yeah, no, not saying it. Nah, I can't. I got a big catering order that came in very last second. I got to go make some ziti, some chicken parm. I got some catering to do. I sent the wife in to get started, but I can't trust her to make the ziti and the chicken parm. She can make the salads and the pizza, but she can't do that other stuff. She needs me. Behind every great woman is a great husband that's a chef and can cook great stuff. But anyway, real quick before we wrap this up. For those that are late to the show, Mad Chatter knows it. I got a lot of prep to do for an 11:30 delivery. I can't just make ziti in 2 minutes. The ziti takes time. I got to get the sauce in there, the ricotta, the mozzarella, all that stuff. I got to cook the pasta. Got to get it all mixed together. The chicken parm. The chicken's got to be cooked. The pasta's got to be cooked. Got to be put together, and I have to have time to melt the cheese on top. I got lots to do. My wife's a Polish girl, great Polish girl, but she don't know how to make that Italian cooking like I do. Got to keep it. Got to keep the Italian vibes going there. But for those that are late to the show, Mad Chatter was here from the beginning, so was Judd. I got to just close the show with the way I start the show. How stupid was the home run derby yesterday? The rapid fire home run derby. I'm here spitting ideas. Have Ken Griffey in the home run derby. Change it up. Spice it up. But you got your new rule of rapid fire pitches and swings where you can't even follow the baseball. That's your answer, Major League Baseball? Yo, I never got the phone call. You let me call and sit on the phone with you. I'll give you 5 ideas how to make the entire week much more enjoyable for the fans. But your answer to freshen up the All-Star Derby is have these baseball players swinging 100 bats or 100 swings in 5 minutes? Get out of here. You're going to see less and less guys. When some of these guys, who won? I don't even know who won. Let me pull up ESPN's main page. Who won the home run derby? I don't even know. Vlad Jr. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vlad Guerrero is one of my favorite baseball players, except for when he was against the Phillies. Sport is so boring. We need to speed it through. Yeah, it is A-Town down. Hope he does. Maybe eventually he'll be on TV again. Got a champion that's not even on TV. I was so bored with the home run derby. I turned on Raw last night. And Raw is boring sometimes. And I watched it. I offended a lot of people last night. So I put out a tweet. Cody Rhodes, overrated. Only reason why he's over is because his song is very good. His intro music is a sing-along. His song is more over than Cody Rhodes. Vlad Jr. is amazing. Got the Blue Jays, buzzing right now. Team is hella mediocre, though. Yeah, absolutely. Why wasn't Schwarber? Well, could you imagine Schwarber swinging 100 times in a 2-minute span? Dude, he'd be gassed 30 seconds into it with that rapid fire last night. That rapid fire was the dumbest thing in the world. Hated it. was so boring. It was so bad. Turn it on. DX has the best song to me. Call me old school. Maybe. Yeah, you get pumped up when you're that that first bar, but Netflix special. I don't even know there's a Netflix special coming out. Best intro song in wrestling? We could do a whole show on wrestling. I would say I love Randy Orton's voices. Real American Hero, Hulk Hogan, definitely. HBK when you're whatever it would go. Just it's that first few seconds of a song that gets you hooked. That's what gets it for me. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Kirk Cousins on cover, but not Hurts. I don't know about that. Let's do the intro show. Yeah, one day we'll come live at like 3:00 in the afternoon. We'll do an afternoon jam session on most entertaining intro songs. Debo Brown, the real D-Lo now. Undertaker or Stone Cold. Stone Cold. When you hear the glass break, the intro song wasn't great for Stone Cold. It was just that when you hear the glass break, you knew a can of whoop ass was being opened really quick. And The Rock, when you hear the original one, do you smell what The Rock is? Yeah, exactly. When I saw the Undertaker live in person for the first time, it was on a SmackDown taping. They pumped cold air into the arena. Like literally, when the flames started coming up and he started coming out, you could see the goosebumps on my hands. It was so awesome. I was never a big Boss Man fan. Never was. Anyway, we got to wrap it up. Super chat or not. Train the AM. No episode tomorrow. I got another big order tomorrow. I could go be in at 6 a.m. making pizzas tomorrow morning. No show tomorrow, but I promise you, we'll even start at 8 a.m. on Thursday to make it up to you guys. Extended episode on Thursday to make up for no show tomorrow. But everybody have a great Tuesday. Everybody have a great Wednesday. It's going to be hot again. Disgusting Man King, Scott Hall, RVD, Macho Man, Rick Rude. All great intro songs for sure. But we got to wrap it up there, guys. Got to wrap it up today. Make sure you like this. Share it out. Tell a friend. We'll be back Thursday morning about 8:15. Extended episode for sure. We'll be back. I promise. We'll go late. We won't worry about overtime. We'll just go overtime for sure. Stone Cold song as some cadence as Roman. Maybe, yeah. Everybody have a great day. For Training the AM, Philadelphia Sports Network. I am Phil Stiefel. Share, like, pound those buttons. Come on. Tell somebody. I need some super shows here. We need some big viewed shows coming up in the coming weeks. Let's get this shit going. Football season's 2 weeks away, guys. Let's go. For everybody, I'm Phil Stiefel. We'll see you on Thursday.